Hello, everybody. How are you today? My name is Joanne Hewins. I'm an independent Stampin Up demonstrator, and today I have three what I think will be quick cards for you. These are on my blog today, so they will be linked. My blog post will be linked. And today is a good day because we have some new online exclusives that are available to everyone. Demonstrators could pre-order, and I pre-ordered this paper because I just thought it was so pretty, or it looked like it would be so pretty. And I want to share this with you. It's called the One Horse Open Sleigh paper. And, you know, Stampin' Up is getting kind of famous for having some of these scenery papers, and this is just especially lovely. Good for Christmas, but also good for winter time as well, or even late fall. So I wanted to show these to you quickly. They're beautiful pictures on these, and then the backs are pretty generic. I'll show those to you in just a minute. But these are just really pretty. And the cards that I want to show you today are cards that will take advantage of this paper, that we can use it and not have a lot of waste, and just some beautiful, beautiful cards. Now, I've been looking through Pinterest, and I've seen these types of cards, and they are pretty popular. So it might be some things that you have seen, but if not, maybe that will be good for you. So you can see that the backs of these are a generic kind of any kind of year, anytime paper. Let's see what the other side of that looked like. There you go. But just some really pretty things. A little bit of wood back here, and some pretty colors for Christmas, and there you go. So let me get started with the cards that we're going to make. And the first one we're going to make is this one. And to open this, this is a little fun fold, and to open this, you pull back. Oops, got the inside for the next card we're going to make. You just kind of pull back. Now, after I made this card, I made a few little changes in it. So you'll notice I ended up having my white showing there. And so anyway, I think the next one will be a little bit better. And I also decided that this is the pecan pie that I have for the background, but I decided for this one I'm going to use the early espresso. So let's get started with that. And our card base is 8.5 by 5.5, and that's just half of our paper that we have. So I'm going to put it in my trimmer and put it right at the 5.5. The other measurement is already 8.5, and you really just end up cutting this paper in half, and we're going to use this for the next card we're going to make. So I'm going to pull down the cutter and just leave my score for this, and I'm going to score this. I've got all the things for all three cards here, but let me just pull this in. For the base, 5.5 by 8.5, and I'm going to score it at, I'm actually going to go ahead and reverse those measurements. I'm going to score it at 1.5. And then the other one is at 4 1/4, which is halfway. So this card is scored halfway, and then you have a small, I doubt that you can see that on there, but we'll go ahead and fold that. So I'm going to fold it in half. You know, and still kind of match your corners and make sure that they meet, because you may not always score exactly perfectly. And so I've got that, and then here is my score at 1.5, and I'm just going to fold that back this way, making sure that it's even here, and we'll use the bone folder there. So there's our fold. Now let's cut our paper. And I was going to just go ahead and use the same paper that I used for this other one. And let me bring it in. We're going to cut it first this way. We want the length of the paper to be 5 1/4. Let's see, I'm going to move that over a little bit, 5 1/4. So I'll place my cutter there. And it will cut off this much of that paper. And we'll be using that in a minute. And then the rest is already 6. So we're going to cut this at 2 3/4. And then we're also going to cut with what's left at 1 1/8. And that's going to leave a piece that's left that is 2 1/8. So that's that measurement that I have here, there, but that is actually the piece that's left. So we have these 3, and we want to keep them in order of how the paper was to start with. So I'm just going to keep those in order. Let me move this out of the way and this out of the way. In a minute, we're going to have a piece of white that is 1 3/4 by 5 1/4. Okay. So let me get this, and this is the tricky part about this card. You're going to do this first part right here, So if you want to be able to open your card, you're only going to put glue right here on this flap. So let me bring in my glue. And I'm just going to put the glue right in here. And here's my piece. I'm going to kind of center it in the space that's left here. Okay, and there we go. So there is that piece right there. Now, this is the piece that I cut off of the bottom of the designer paper. So I'm going to bring this in. I'm going to cut it at 5 1/4, which is how long our other paper is. So this is the waste that you have from that piece of paper. And this I'm going to glue right in this area. So I'm going to put it kind of in the middle of all of that. Like that. So we have this. Okay. So this next piece, the smaller piece, is going to go right in this area. I love the back of that. I think it's so pretty. And then this is going to go right in here. Like that. And then this piece, let's open this up, is going to go right in here. So the design goes on across the whole card. So this one goes here. Okay. And then our white is going to go here in this spot. So I've already stamped this with the saying, "'Tis the season." And that saying comes from the Brightest Glow stamp set right here. Here is my stamp, "'Tis the season." And I don't have the stamp set One Horse Open Sleigh that goes with this paper yet, but some of these that were carried over from before are just fine as well. And so I'm going to take my paper that I cut. I'll review that in just a second. Let me get this. Oops. I'll have to let that dry and get that off of there. So I'm going to put this paper right here. And when it closes, yes, it does cover up my white just fine. So these dimensions for the paper are a little bit different than the one that I put over here, but I think I like that better. So go by what I showed you. And this basic white was 1 3/4 by 5 1/4. So the base was 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, and we scored it at 1 1/2 and 4 1/4. And then our DSP, which means Designer Series paper, was 6 by 5 1/4. We cut off 3/4 of an inch. And then we cut that at 2 3/4 and 1 1/8, and our leftover piece was 2 1/8. We did a basic white piece, 1 3/4 by 5 1/4. And that got us to here. And we have done our stamping on the inside. 'Tis the season. Okay, let's decorate the outside. So for this piece on the front, I used, wrong one. I used the Something Fancy dies, and I used this one right here to cut out our saying. And this saying is from Perched in a Tree. This is another one that was carried over from last year, so I did this one, Perched in a Tree, and cut it out from that die. And I have that already made and ready to go. So let me get that. So there's our piece. Let me put that back in the right place so I won't lose it later. And then I'm going to use, this is the organdy, hold on just a minute, the glittered organdy ribbon. This was in our catalog last year, and this year it is actually still in the online exclusive store. So that's why I went ahead, and I had this much left over, and I thought, well, I'm going to use that, and I'm going to order another roll. So I'm going to take some glue dots, and I think I would probably say just get your seal or something like that and run a little bit across that, but I don't have that with me, so I'm just going to lay this down right in there, and then we will put some dimensionals underneath our saying. So let me just do that. As you can see, this is a really pretty card, and look how fast and simple this was. You can make some great Christmas cards with this paper, and this piece looks great, but you know what? Any of the pieces just about would, and I'll tell you in a minute about some that maybe wouldn't be as good. So I'm going to put this here. I'm going to get these in color dots that I have here, and this is one of the old pokey tools, but it'll be fine. So I'm going to put, one back here, and then we're going to put some others here, like that. And then the only thing that we have left to do would be to notch our ribbon. So let me do that. Okay, and there we go. There's that card. Now I did get some glue right back here, so I'm not going to push that down hard so I can get that off. In fact, it might be dry enough. I'm going to use one of these rubber erasers. And I think that's going to get that right off of there. I don't think Stampin' Up sells these right now, but some of you may have them, or you can order them from somewhere else. So that got all of that sticky off of there. And there's our card. So there's the first one. Do you like it better in the pecan pie or in the early espresso? Okay, I'm going to set this aside and we'll go ahead and work on the next card. And that's going to be this one. That's going to be this one right here. So this is just a simple fold. And let me bring in, we're going to use the same paper for that one as well. That's this one. Don't you like that little deer right there? Isn't that cute? Cute, cute. So let me bring in my paper. We're doing again the 5.5 by 8.5. And the scoring for this is going to be at 2 1/8 and 4 1/4. So let me bring this in. And I'm going to do 2 1/8 and 4 1/4. Okay, and that's all there is to that one. So we're going to fold this in half. And this is just the other half of that paper I started with. And then this one is going to be folded back. But this one is even. The one that we did before just had a little 1.5 inch flap to it. This one has 2 1/8, which is actually half. Okay, so we've got that folded and ready to go. Let's do our paper. And our paper is going to be cut at, this time I'm going to do 5 3/8, which is just below that 5.5. Oops, I'm going to cut it instead of score it. And our cutting is going to be at, where did that paper go? It's under my paper. We're going to cut it at 2 and 4. So this is going to be cut into 3 pieces that are 2 inches each. So there's 2 and 4 and another 2. So really 2 and 2, I guess you would say. And there it is. Now I like the way that little deer ended up being right in the middle. So I said something a minute ago about some of these might be as good for others. So let's pretend that we wanted to use this piece. Let me get my cutter out of the way. I want to keep these in order. Let's say that I want to use this paper, and it would have been cut here and here, where you see my cut would have come down through the middle of this deer. So this paper isn't a good choice for this card, because you don't want to cut your little deer right in the middle. So look at that thing when you're figuring out how you want to make your card. So this one simply goes right here. That's the first one. So I'm going to put it right there. And then the next piece goes here. And this is where I changed this card just a little bit. Let me go ahead and get this down. Okay. Most of the cards that I've seen, go ahead and put the next designer paper here so it's all in one piece. And then your inside shows when you close it. And I wanted to have the pretty piece. I thought that kind of went on across okay. So I decided I was going to put this piece over on this side. And then the white will go where it's kind of covered up when the card is shut. So I'm going to put this here. And then the white will go here. Okay. And I am going to stamp in this one, "'Tis the Season" again. And again, that is from The Brightest Glow. And I thought I had that stamped, but I don't. So here we go. So we'll just tap, 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 tap lightly. And then we'll see if we can get that on there straight. Okay, not exactly. Let me see if I can do any better if I do it again. I think that's straighter, maybe not quite in the center. We'll go ahead and use that. And I use cherry cobbler for this. So let me put this here. And then we'll decorate the front of this card. Okay, so that's going to look like this. And okay, I'm going to bring in my bone folder and burnish some of that a little bit better. Okay, so that's going to go like that. Now, for this one, I used the Merry Christmas from The Brightest Glow, and that is one of my all-time favorite Christmas stamps right there. I used that, and then I brought in again the Something Fancy dies, and I used the smaller one right here to cut that out. So it worked just like that. And again, the Something Fancy dies. Let me put that back in. And I'm going to put this right here to carry over a little bit. And I kind of wanted to get it low so it didn't cover up too much of the ground. I didn't want it to look like my trees were all just floating in space. I'm going to add some dimensionals here, but notice this one goes over here. I don't want it extends over there. I don't want to glue that down, so I have to put my dimensionals just on one side. You see how that deer is peeping? That's another reason I wanted to get this down lower, so my little deer wouldn't be covered up with my tag. So let's put some dimensionals on here. And we'll try to make sure that that doesn't glue our card shut. So let me bring this back in. I'm going to put it down low and try to center it from side to side. Okay, so that's all right. And then I use the linen thread to make, a bow for this. And I just use, Stampin' Up! Doesn't sell these. I just use a bow maker because I'm not that great at making a bow. I'm going to take my glue dot and just kind of roll it off. And then I'm going to just put that down right in there. And I'll put this bow right there. Now, I have my cherry cobbler blend because I planned to color some of the basic rhinestones to put on my card. But I actually am cheating a little bit because these were in the catalog last year, and why not use them? So you can take, if you don't have any of these left, you can take your regular basic rhinestones, and I failed to get that in my stuff, and just color it with the blend, and it will be perfect for you to use. But I'm going to go ahead and sneak these on. Don't tell anybody. And we'll put a couple of our rhinestones that we're pretending were colored with cherry cobbler blend on there. And there, our card here is complete. So there we have our little deer peeping out there and our card. Isn't that pretty? Now here again, which do you like best? I think I like the darker around the outside better than the lighter color, but what do you think? Everybody has their own opinion. Let me throw in a little tip right here. I probably need to cut that. Did you know, and I'm sorry my bone folder's dirty, did you know that you can kind of curl this a little bit? So I'm just kind of holding it down there. And I don't know if that one's long enough to really do much, but anyway, there's a little bit of curl to that now. And I probably need to just kind of trim that one a little. There you go. So now we have that one. So we've got one more card to do. And this card, I'm just hoping that I'm going to have it work out okay. This one is a bay window card. Let me get rid of that. We don't need it. So we're going to use the same thing. And this one fits under there like this. And it has just a little bit of space there. And you can stand it to display. So this one does have a little bit of a waist for the paper because we're going to cut it off shorter. Let's go ahead and get started on that. So for this one, we're going to need to have a piece of paper. I'm going to use Night of Navy for this. And we're going to cut this at 4 1/4. And it'll be 4 1/4 by 11. When I cut that at 4 1/4, it makes two of the same size, and this will fold up to make the same size of card as what you have with these. So it's just folded in half. It will be the same size of that. So let's talk about where we're going to score this one. There's a lot. There's a lot. So I'm going to bring this here. So the base was 4 1/4 by 11. And we're going to score that at 3/8. And then 1 7/8. Then 3 5/8, 5 1/8, and 5 1/2. So 5 1/2 would be the halfway part. 5 1/2 is half of 11. So again, 1 3/8, 1 7/8. 3 5/8, 5 1/8, and 5 1/2. And I have changed those measurements just a little bit from what I found online. So mine might differ just a little. And I'm kind of hoping that everything I changed will work out okay. So I'm going to fold this in half. And then this piece is going to be folded back like that. Folded back. And then these next ones will be mountain folds. The next two, and then this last one is going to be folded back. So it's valley, valley, mountain, mountain, valley. So it's going to go like that. All right, so we're ready to do our cutting. I'm going to bring my paper in, and the first thing I'm going to do is cut it to 4 1/8. So that's going to cut quite a bit of that off of the bottom. So that much we will be wasting, but perhaps you can find something else to do with that. So I'm going to cut this. There's a bunch of cuts here. So I'm going to do 1/4. And we want to keep these in order. 1/4, 1 3/8, and then we're going to do 1 5/8. I'm a little bit nervous. And then another 1 3/8. And then a 1/4. And then that should leave us a piece that is 1 1/8. Let me pull in a measure. Oh, I can't pick it up. Okay, this should be 1 1/8. And it is, so hopefully I have done it correctly. So I'm going to transfer all of this down here. You know, once we get the cutting done and we get the scoring done, the hard part of this is really just filling in the spaces. So let's go ahead and glue all of this in. So one of the first things we're going to do is just come here in this tiny little place here. We're going to glue that down, kind of like you do if you're making one of those book folds. So that is glued, oops, that is glued down. We'll give it a minute. And then we're going to put this little skinny piece in that space. Now that's one of the changes that I made in this one, is I left a place for this to fit there. This one doesn't have one, and I thought it looked like it needed something there. Okay, and then we're just keeping those in order. We will fill them in the spaces. Now this piece and this piece are the same size. This one's a little bit wider. So if you are interested, you can go to my, oh, well, nothing like dropping the paper. You can go to my online store and look for this on July 6th or after. Go and look for the online exclusives. Here's the link to my store, or you can go to my blog, and it has a link on there as well. Okay. Here's another little skinny spot. Just be careful in how much glue you put on these because you don't want it to seep out. Okay, and then this is going, I'm going to open that. It's going to go right there. Okay, so we have all of those pieces, so that's how everything looks. Isn't that pretty? Just beautiful. And then this piece is going to go in here, and this piece is smaller than what I have here. And remember, I think it was 1 1/8. And we're going to attach this with dimensionals because this piece needs to be able to go under. And I made kind of a mistake there, going too far over. What I've decided to use is the foam adhesive sheet, and I've got this cut at 4 is what it comes, and then this is about 3/4, I believe. And I'm going to take my scissors and just cut just the tiniest of pieces off of the end of that. And I'm going to put this over on this side. And that is going to leave a space for our piece to go under. So let me pull that off. And then this is going to go right in here. I want to leave a little bit of a space right there. And see, now this can go under that piece, just like that. Doesn't that looks a little bit better than the one that I started off with. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the inside. I have a piece of white, and that white is 3 3/4 by 4 1/8. Okay, and I did the Merry Christmas on there in the Night of Navy. So let me go ahead and bring that in. And we'll put that on our paper. Okay. And we're going to put that across the top up there. All right. And then we'll just glue that under here. And this Merry Christmas was from Brightest Glow. That is in the annual catalog. And it is rollover, I guess. Uh-oh, you know what I just did? I didn't pay attention to the way I was doing that. I think I have some extra white. There is a little thing for you to watch out for. And maybe I don't have extra white. Okay, okay, so I did not bring an extra white, so we won't be able to finish that part. Please, I'm sorry, and I will go and fix that as soon as I get off. I was really sure that I had done that. So the 4 1/8, you're going to want to put it this way, and if I hadn't already put glue on there, I could turn it over, but I did put the glue, so we'll wait. I will close that all the way, and I'll get that fixed up so that it looks like that on the inside. At least I have one you can see. So let's go ahead and decorate the front of this. Wait a minute. I do have a piece. I found it. So let me cut that to 4 1/8 by 3 3/4. So I'm going to go ahead and do the 3 3/4. and the 4 1/8. And I apologize. We all make mistakes, don't we? And I knew I had that paper. Okay, let's make sure. Yes, we're going to do it with the Merry Christmas up here. I'm going to get that gluey side away. We'll try it again. Okay, I like to try to get it straight on my grid paper, and maybe that will help me get it straight. Okay, I still think I have it over to the right a little bit, but we'll let that go. And let's hope I didn't do the same thing again. Wouldn't that be awful? Okay, so this is going to go right in this space. Whew. Okay, I feel better. At least I did have it the way I had planned. Okay, so I used the 'Tis the Season again from, well, I've set that somewhere and I don't know where it is. From the, here it is, from the Brightest Glow. So here's the Merry Christmas I used and the 'Tis the Season on there. And I already have my tag made. And I cut that out with the Nested Essentials. The Nested Essentials are back in the back of the catalog. They are a standalone die. They don't have a stamp set that they go with, but look how perfectly it worked with this word. So I decided I wanted to put my saying there. And again, I'm going to just be putting my dimensionals on one side for that. Okay, so I'm going to put that, put this down. I'm going to put it about right there, but I'm going to, probably should pull that back off real quick. Okay, so I'm going to use down here on this bottom part, I've already made a bow, and I used for this the Simply Elegant trim, and I used the silver. This is a repeat again, but it is in our catalog, and I'm going to put that down with a glue dot. And I'm going to put that kind of like that. Kind of like that. And I want my glue dot to be up in this corner, and then I want the other one, I'm actually going to cut that in half. Or a mini glue dot would work. I'm going to put it up in this corner because I want the knot of my bow to go in this area, so everything will lay down well. So let me do that, like this. Okay, so now that will still go up. Okay, and then I'm going to use the, let's see what those are called, the adhesive backed sparkle gems to go on here. And here they are. I just have a couple of those left. And I know I had, I don't know, do you throw things around the way I do when I'm stamping and then lose it all? We'll see if I can get them with this. Okay, so I'm going to put one over here and one on my tag. And then another one, oh, down in here somewhere. Oops. There we go. And so that finishes that one up. So here's that one. And then let me pull in the others that I did today. This one with the black, with the early espresso. And then this one also with early espresso. So we have this fold. Using almost the whole piece of paper, we had just a little bit from the bottom, and then we put that over here. So actually, we wasted just a little bitty square of that paper right there. And then on this one, we used all but one little strip, a 3/4 inch strip, and I don't have that right this minute. It's somewhere. But we used almost the whole piece of paper. And then on this one, we did cut off the bottom. So that is about 1 7/8 inch by 6. And that one, you can certainly come up with something to use that. We could have put probably something across there if we wanted to, but not really needed. So there you go. 3 pieces or 3 cards that you can use to come up with ways to use the One Horse Open Sleigh paper. It is so pretty. You're going to enjoy it, and it's part of the online exclusives. Thank you. I'm Joanne Hewins. Bye-bye.